Road Traffic Management Corporation says most road crashes are caused by young and inexperienced drivers. The corporation is considering making changes to driving regulations, including the review of the K53 driving test manual. For more on this discussion, we're joined by RTMC spokesperson Simon Zwane. Simon, good to speak to you as always. Thank you for your time. Can you provide more insight into the factors contributing to this significant increase in road accidents during the festive season, particularly in Gauteng?
Yeah, the factors are complex and multifaceted. Key among them would be the behavior, of course, drunken driving, reckless and negligent driving, being key factors, as well as speeding. But there's also drunken walking, if I can coin a phrase, where pedestrians also walk the streets under the influence of alcohol, unattentive, and this also causes a problem. But the accessibility of alcohol generally in the communities is also a problem, where you find 3 taverns in one street, you find people drinking in public places and open in the parks closer to busy intersections. These factors also play a role. And then you put into that spatial planning, with the mushrooming of informal settlements closer to busy roads, busy national roads, like the N3, maybe the N12 as well, but also these informal settlements inside the towns. Taking, for instance, in Boksburg here, there's a busy road linking Boksburg and Germiston, and the informal settlements there are always people walking drunk onto that road. So it's all of those factors that play a role, including, recently there's been a phenomenon of many warehouses being built, particularly on the R21, and that brings in then public transport onto that road, and they are offloading their passengers in places that are not safe to offload, and that increases the risk. So it's all of those factors that are at play in Gauteng and causing this.
So what about
Gauteng is the most dense population, both in terms of vehicles. It's got the highest number of vehicles, it's got the highest number of drivers in Gauteng. So all of those factors.
So let's talk a little bit about young people, because they're making the headlines as the primary cause of accidents in Gauteng in particular. What are those factors, number one? And secondly, you mentioned the issue of spatial planning and informal settlements mushrooming close to highways and other streets where there is vehicular traffic. Are these roads signposted to make drivers aware? Because I've driven in areas where there will be a signpost on the road that says animals or springbok likely to leap across the road, or the road is littered with potholes. So I will drive with caution. Are we working with the challenge that we have by, putting up signage to advise motorists?
Yeah, I think signage we can improve on putting sufficient signage, but on next to some of the informal settlements, they put barriers to prevent people from crossing where it is not safe to do so, and bridges have been built. Unfortunately, those barriers get vandalized, and people cross where it's not safe to do so. They're not using those pedestrian bridges. Excuse being that there's crime there, they get marked on those bridges, and that is why they then cross where it is not safe to do so, and vandalize the infrastructure that's put there to prevent them from crossing crossing the roads.
So let's talk about the presence of police, particularly in some of these areas. I mean, you are aware of the streets that have a high number of taverns, because you've mentioned that. Is there a heavy police presence in some of those areas? Because I'd imagine if there was a heavy police presence, they'd be able to deal with the would-be perpetrators before they're involved in the accident. And I think that will be a cheaper mechanism to having to deal with individuals, unfortunately, losing their lives or cars or other vehicles crashing.
Yeah, police regularly conduct raids in those situations where they would raid those particular taverns and force them to close down. But as soon as the police leave, they continue to trade. So it's a moving target, or they move premises into different premises, but the problem then remains. So it's a moving target, but I think it's one that needs sustained intervention, and also not only the legal taverns, but also the mushrooming illegal taverns, even within the CBDs, where the establishments are not licensed, but people are selling alcohol right into the early hours of the morning, around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock. Those factors need to be dealt with by the municipalities that are responsible for those spaces.
Simon Zwane is the Road Traffic Management Corporation spokesperson. Appreciate your time this evening.